And we are now live. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us. I will get some people hopefully following. It's 5 o'clock on a Wednesday. Most people either it's still at work on their way home from work, or they can always watch this later. So this is New Comic Book Day Aftermath with my recurring guest, I guess my co-host, as it were, Matt Land. Matt, thank you for joining me, my friend.
Here I am. I'm awake.
And you're awake, and you are, and you're mad, ain't you? You're quite mad.
I'm I'm fired up.
You're fired.
Fired
Why
up.
are you fired up, Matt?
Because I only purchased one comic book today, and then after that, the purchase button was suspended.
So it's one of those. Oh wow, you put it up. Oh, okay. This is like rescind this. This is like bad buy. This is really bad buy.
I wouldn't say it was a bad buy because there was aspects of this issue today that I did like. I mean, of course, I like the art. I always say that, but it was just the overall story that I just didn't like. I mean, I'm not gonna go after Tom King because I don't want to wake up with a bag on my head. But
You want to wake up in some foreign country, rendered, part of
no,
rendition.
and I like Tom King. I don't know if anyone's been paying attention, but I've talked finally about this guy and his
And the
his work on
CIA.
Miracle and stuff like that. Yeah, his work for our country. I appreciate that, Larry. You're right. But I mean, I'm talking about his work, in comic books. I mean, I like it. I mean, it's not bad. It's a little more cerebral, I guess is the word we're looking for.
I want that over at Marvel. I don't want that at DC. I want fun.
I
Like,
didn't realize he did, he's done work at Marvel. I guess he worked on, what was it, the Vision books
yeah,
for a little bit
the
or something
Vision,
like that.
the most Marvel of Marvel series, the Vision.
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about it. I guess they gave Vision a family of robots or something like
Yeah,
that. I don't know.
that's what I'm saying. That's the
That's
most
cool.
Marvel of Marvel. It's like, hey, Tom, stay over there at Marvel. You go and do this crap over there. Leave, leave the DC heroes alone. They don't need a hug box. They don't need a place they can go to unwind. Oh my god, it was so. When I heard this pitch, I was like, oh, what the hell? Really? They're gonna do this?
And you bring that up, and it's like after I read the issue, I don't feel like a lot of what he said holds true to what we got, unless this is going to be, I guess, a gradual thing. Like the next couple issues will be a flashback, of them, building this house, and I guess the robots and shit inside of there. So I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. We're going to get a little history here, and they're not just going to act like the sanctuary's been here because I think that's lame.
Yeah.
I want this fleshed out. I want to see why this is here, or why who's it treating, and all this other stuff, and not just showing up and everyone's wiped out.
So that's the problem. Like, if they were actually editorially minded, remember when they would sow the seeds for ideas months in advance? Like, actually do
I
some,
guess they've been sowing the seeds, and
but
I
not.
think we talked about it. I guess it was maybe a couple, shows ago. I guess in Batman, where, or no, it was the Flash. Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
was what, Flash 52. I forget what it was.
that's like
Where
what couple months.
they,
That's like a month back, right?
yeah, where they talked about hauling Wally off of this place after he kind of had a nervous breakdown, and it was kind of out of nowhere. It's like, oh, so this place is already around, all right. And I
See,
remember
that's the
being
problem.
disappointed.
It just like plop, it's there instead of like a little, little rumblings here and there, a little, talking about it, in between action or something like that. Like have a little build up for it. But no, of course they don't. But yeah, speaking of Wally, I guess we'll go ahead and get into spoilers.
Oh God, God, God.
Yeah. So for those
No,
listening
no.
in the past tense, what do they do to poor Wally West?
They don't, Larry. It's merely one panel where you see the dead bodies,
Of
and
both
it's
Wally and
almost,
Arsenal, right?
yeah. It's not just one of them; it's both of them.
It, well, at least the Titans die together, right? Live free or
I
die
guess,
Titan.
yeah, I guess that's true. But I mean, it just felt like it's just like this is Wally West. I mean, this guy was the Flash in his own right through most of the '90s. I mean, this for, I guess, for my age group, which I guess we're fossils, whatever. This was our Flash. I mean, I'm not saying I dislike Barry as a Flash. It's just that Wally was the Flash I had. And as a kid, I had to learn, about Barry kind of after all. the storylines where Barry just wasn't around anymore.
And see, that's the problem because Barry was brought back because that's what the editors and that's what
They
Johns and the
wanted the
rest of them.
original recipe back. Yeah, I get it.
Exactly. They wanted which if you want original recipe, you get Jay Garrick, but whatever. Uh
I feel like we can have a world where the Flashes can coexist. There doesn't have to be just one Flash or
no, there
two,
could be multiple like
Grandpa and then his kids or whatever.
see
I
that's
think
what I loved. Like the fact that you could see Jay on the porch talking with someone and then Wally run up and is like, "Hey Jay, can I borrow you for a second?" Yeah, sure thing. He grabs his pipe, the World War I helmet, and then the pipe hand helmet, and like runs out the door, and is like his wife goes back in, gets a drink, brings it, gets two drinks, brings it out, and like they're back and like. And it's like, yeah, like just took care of some business, like fought
that's
some
just
monster or
classy
something.
storytelling right there, man.
Exactly. That's like it's just like you don't see the heroes fighting the thing. Like maybe see like a flash of it while there you go. While she's like maybe pouring like some lemonade or sweet tea or something like that, and it comes back out, and then they're like, oh, thank you, that kind of thing. That would be fantastic to see something like that. That's actually something I'd want to see in a comic book. Character building, and have them talk to me for like a page and a half, and then go actually have some action go on. Not like pages upon pages like Bendis style. And that's the problem with a lot of these comics. Like with this idea of like this sounds like talk out your feelings, the comic book, and
there's a balance, Larry. I
there's
don't mind some of that stuff. I get it, but there's got to be a balance. I don't need word bubbles that are bigger than the artwork.
that's the biggest problem. A lot of new art I've noticed that it's more.
I get you got a story to tell, but there's got to be words and there's got to be artwork, and these two things work together.
Show, don't
it is
tell.
a song. It's a
Yeah,
song.
show, don't tell. More art than like. Look back what people like Kirby did back in the day. Those like the Fourth World books were not the best written comics ever, but they were raw because it was like Kirby writing and drawing and editing and doing all that stuff. So that right there was just pure storytelling visually, like these epic double page spreads of war on like using double page spreads appropriately. War or something massive happening like space gods and the source wall and stuff like that. But now it's just
this is all new. That was all brand new ground back then.
It was.
Now
It really was.
Kind of beaten ground.
Well, that shows like everybody says like, oh, Stan Lee did this, Stan Lee did that. It was Kirby telling that. The stories were very visual. The Marvel stories. Look at the Marvel stories. Stan Lee worked with Kirby on, and then like other artists. You could tell like so if it's all Stan, then it should be all about the same. No, it's not because it's like your storytelling, it isn't just words. People forget that. They think, oh, storytellers, that means written. No, storytellers was an oral tradition for the longest time. It was somebody to go up and have paint in their mouth and they'd spit it on a cave wall over their hand and, make cave paint and stuff like that. That's a storyteller too. It's not just, oh, I'm going to sit with a pen and write something down. Like, no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't have to be just that. But it sounds like Heroes in Crisis
well, there's more. There's more to this onion, Larry.
All right, go ahead and unravel this onion.
There's Booster Gold. That right there, the minute that's introduced into this equation, it's time travel. I mean, that's Booster Gold. This is the guy who is habitually fucking with time.
Yeah. Well, he's the self-centered jerk. If those who don't know, self-centered jerk, janitor / former future football star.
I like Booster Gold. This is not in no way am I saying I dislike this character.
I don't dislike Booster Gold either, but a lot of people don't know
what comes
who
with
Booster
this
Gold
character
is.
now that he's in this story, and you got to wonder, it's like how much of this will be concrete and how much of this will be, erased. This puts a lot of things into question, in my opinion, when you introduce time travel.
And so that's the cheapest thing. Like when you said Wally and Arsenal, when you showed me Wally and Arsenal being
there's
dead.
more people who are dead also, Larry. I don't.
Who else? Who else you got?
I don't have a complete list of everyone who died. There's more people that were there. You can, there's a couple shots where they show dead bodies laying around the farmhouse. It's just, I will say,
was Raphael there too?
I don't know. And I remember there was, what was it? I guess they had an ad saying one of these people will die. I guess recently. And it's like, so is Cyborg and, Tim Drake and, all these other, like Kyle Rayner. Is he dead? I mean, can you kill Kyle Rayner off? I don't know. We'll see.
It
But
wouldn't
I know
surprise me
all
if they
these
did.
all these people, I guess I'm assuming, are there or not there, or this was just smoke and mirrors. I don't know.
So that's the problem. When anytime you introduce time travel and death, that's really time travel can be a really fun concept if you do it properly, but it's also a real big
At the end
cop
of the
out.
day, it's a reset button.
Yeah, it's like, well, that's the thing. It's like a movie like there's a movie called Source Code. It's a Duncan Jones film. Duncan Jones, he did the movie Moon. He also did the World of Warcraft movie. He's
I
David
like the
Bowie's
World of
son.
Warcraft movie,
Yeah, Duncan Jones is David
but
Bowie's
they
son, which is
they fucked that up.
oh yeah, the World of Warcraft movie. Well, apparently China loved it, but but China.
Well, they're better off just letting Warcraft make those little, make their own videos like they do for every XPAC. Because I'll tell you right now, those right there, the quality of those put into each expansion are on movie level, in my opinion. That's right. I play World of Warcraft, but the lore, the lore is great, and the videos they do are actually really well done. And it's a shame the movie couldn't tap into that. But I liked the movie. It wasn't bad. It could have been better. Just, I'm just an angry nerd who wants it to be like the game, but whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I'm feel the same way about Overwatch. I have a feeling it would be great to see an Overwatch film, but they'd probably screw it up because they'd probably make it live action
It's
instead of just.
it's still young. It's still young. I feel like Overwatch doesn't have a lot of lore to kind of hold it down to, like expectations and all this stuff. I don't feel like that should be live action. No.
No, it should be all CG. That's the biggest thing. But so with Heroes in Crisis, should be Heroes in Action,
Heroes in
uh,
question.
Heroes in
I
Question.
mean, at the end, that's what it comes down to, whenever there's, and Harley and I guess Booster will be the kind of the center stage of the story, I guess. At least in this issue, it was Harley and Booster. So I
See,
don't
that's
know
the
where they go from here.
Harley Quinn is a character that they've pushed and they've pushed because of popularity wise. She was a bad psychiatrist. Why would you let her anywhere near anybody's mind?
Well, I
You
don't
know,
in this book. I don't think she's getting near anyone's mind. I think she was there at Sanctuary in order to maybe work through her own issues, which I don't know. I guess in my mind, I don't feel like Harley would do something like that. I guess I could be wrong. I don't know. I mean, I don't know her personally. I've never talked to her.
if you start talking to fictional characters, we might have a problem,
I
dude.
talk to these people all the time, Larry. That's right. Yep.
Well, I guess we've kind of tapped the Heroes of Crisis well, but there are other crises that have happened. I guess chronological go back to Crisis on Infinite Earths,
Here
which
we
is one of
go.
those books that got me. I my first comic was DC comic. I read DC comics going on for many years. I couldn't call myself a DC guy because I was an X-Men fan. I would even pick up Spider-Man books. I would enjoy, like, I actually picked up books during the Clone Saga, some of the Ben Riley stuff when he had the blue hoodie with the sideways spider logo. You know what I'm talking
Oh
about?
yeah, the shit was good, man.
I love that
I love
suit.
that
I mean,
costume.
I here's the thing. I'm not a Spidey guy for the most part because a lot of Spidey, when it boils down to, is the power responsibility. Oh, woe is me. I'm Spider-Man crap. I hate that. Like
Ben
that's why
Riley is that without the baggage. It's
he's
more
yeah he's
he
he's
doesn't
a
think he's good enough.
badass. He's like a badass. He's like a care. He kind of reminds me a little bit of Daredevil at that
Doesn't have
point.
anything to lose. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's before he found out he was a clone. He's like, I'm a real deal, man. I feel alive once and for all. But with
Nope.
the 90s stuff, I read the No Man's Land. I dug that for the what issues I can get because I was at the mercy of the spinner rack. Whatever the comic book stores that were far away had, I couldn't get a hold of, so I had to resort to the comic book racks at
Seeing
the
comic books that might have been out months before they actually hit
exactly.
your rack. Yeah, and that
I
I
would miss
totally
like
get
two
that.
months, and it sucked.
The slow
But
trickle.
here's the thing: that storyline still burned in my brain. It's still burned in my brain after all these years, so I can't really complain too much. Same thing with Nightwing. Nightwing was a book that I loved. Chuck Dixon, Scott McDaniel, do no wrong.
This is like
But
the early bloodheaving stuff, right?
oh yeah, that was actually better than the Batman books at the time. you
Hey,
know,
who was the artist on that series in the beginning? I feel like I know.
Scott
You know,
McDaniel. He did
there you
Scott
go. Yeah,
McDaniel. He did Daredevil back when. Remember when Daredevil got the armor and they had the glow in the dark covers and
yeah, I
stuff.
had that, and I like the armor.
Well,
That's
that was
great.
Scott McDaniel doing the
That's
artwork.
my Maroon 5, dude. No.
Oh my god! Look,
Ah, yes.
dude, you know how I got that? Got into that Daredevil was a dollar store. It was like a Family Dollar. They had the pack of Daredevil comics, and the one on the outside was the glow in the dark with a comic book cover that glows in the
Hooked.
dark. I'm like, oh my god!
I'll take
Nowadays,
that.
I'll be, like kind of cringing out on that.
No, don't cringe. We need to be buying more of that stuff.
Yeah, Comic Rust in chat asks if so do you think that Heroes in Crisis will be the new Identity Crisis? I could see that happening. Very controversial. But
I don't
well,
know if this will have as many layers as Identity Crisis. That's what early I thought about if these two would be similar, and I almost say Identity Crisis might be the better of these events, even though I'm not a big fan of that event either. But I felt like it was a little more well written. But we'll see. This is only one issue. I mean, I can't just say the whole thing's gonna be bad. I can't guarantee I'm coming back for more though, but we'll see.
we'll see what
At least
issue
I
two
didn't pay
brings,
eight
right?
dollars for this. So there you go.
How much you pay for it?
It was what, $4.99? I
Oh,
think that's how much
what
it
the?
was.
See that? My
He's like,
God!
you didn't pay $8, but you still paid a lot, Matt.
Oh my God, though, dude. But Crisis, Crisis on Infinite Earths is the book that got me to be a DC fan because it had so much to offer. You had Sergeant Rock, you had, Salivar from of the of you know oh,
Gorilla City?
Gorilla City. I'm about to say Ape Town.
Not A-Town. Gorilla City, Larry. God,
Gorilla
what are you
City.
thinking, dude?
I can remember the guy's name. Like in all these DC characters, the world's being affected. Like they in a weird way, Crisis has the same start as the Transformers the movie. Like a planet getting destroyed, and except no kick-ass theme by Lion. Transformers, robots in the sky.
Everything needs a theme like that.
Everything needs a theme by Lion. But but Crisis got me into DC Comics with all the past and the current stuff that was going on. The build up of Wally, find out like Barry was in the future, what was going on with them. Those here, that crew. You got Jay Garrick, the rest of it. It was just boom, so much going on.
It was a
And
transition, is what it was.
it was like like they're building a new universe right out of that, and it was great to see that and to feel like, yeah, this book when I read it was like around 2001, 2002. I got the trade paperback, and so we're talking what at that point 10, 17 years passed between Crisis on Infinite Earths and that, and I'm reading it, and I was like, and I went back and started buying older issues and stuff and tie-ins to Crisis that weren't collected, and it's great. I loved it, and that's what got me really into DC Comics around that time. So, I mean, of course, I'd read DC Comics, but I was not latched in. So I was kind of going more DC at the time, and I was still reading some Marvel, but not as much. And like it was
And
bouncing
also
back
the
and forth.
visibility to characters that were not, mainstream characters as well.
Yeah, it's like, well, yeah, that's the thing. Like you got characters like Sergeant Rock, you had Wildcat, you had Doctor Light, and all these other characters get some spotlight. Like you didn't have just Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman be on the cover and that's it. You had these other characters having
It's like
time
the
in the spotlight.
Expendables.
Yeah, they were, well, a lot of them didn't make it, but it was interesting to see happen. Like to see Golden Age Superman and Lois Lane, and like all this stuff, and like all these worlds mattered at one
Psycho
point in time.
Pirate, right? Psycho
Yep,
Pirate
Psycho
was there.
Pirate, and his
Good old
stuff,
Psycho Pirate.
and his stuff kind of mattered for a while too after the fact.
Hey,
Like he
and
was.
all these gold masks I kept seeing them holding the
Oh yeah, I
the
was thinking the
Heroes
same
Crisis.
thing.
I initially thought of Psycho Pirate. I was like, what did they bring this person in? Is he hooked up? Fooling people into thinking they're okay? What's going on here? I
See,
didn't see any Psycho Pirate. I was a little
that's
disappointed.
probably a better story than Tom King's gonna
I
write.
didn't even see the masks. No one was wearing the masks.
If that actually happens to be the case, then dude, you're
There's
psychic.
going to be flashbacks, dude. There's got to be. They're going to show this place in action, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Comic Rust in the chat. Hell, after Crisis, we got Burns Superman, Miller's Year One, and Perez's Wonder Woman. Exactly. We got we got these great comics coming out of not to mention the Mike Baron Flash. We got that gets overlooked because of the Wade run, and of course Wade being Wade now, not Wade of then, but Wade now. Yeah, so you had all these great comics going on at the time, and most people just they don't think nothing of it. It's like these are Batman Year One, Man of Steel, the George Perez Wonder Woman. That
these are tent poles.
Exactly, these are tentpole, and they've shaped the characters probably, if not as much, if not more so than their origins of the characters and stuff, which is great. But you don't see that happen anymore these days because the next crisis after that, which would have been Identity Crisis, which because you had events between then. You had Final Night and 0 Hour and stuff like that. But that was
I got Final Night sitting on my shelf.
What about 0 Hour, man? You're not a fan of 0 Hour?
I am a fan of 0 Hour. I am more of a fan of that than Final Night. Although I was excited to see Hal Jordan get some kind of redemption after all that stuff.
I wish he hadn't. I wish Hal Jordan stayed the guy that
stayed as Parallax.
Well, the idea that this to be a test pilot, knowing that you could possibly die, you have to be a little crazy. And the fact that he had no fear and the power, his had a lot of willpower, and then he tried to bring back those he loved, and the core is like, nope, can't do that. And he's like, screw you guys, you're dying.
In my mind, I feel like I understand that if I had this great power and I knew that I had the backing in order to maybe help, fix this problem, and then they tell me no, I would imagine my grief would be taking the driver's seat, Yeah,
it would. And that feels natural. Like what they did with the yellow fear demon and all that. And they've diluted the Green Lantern concept so much with the other cores, the spectrums, and then with Snyder's there's an inverse spectrum or something. It was like this Grant Morrison idea, and I was like, all right, I hate this idea.
I don't mind the fear demon. I don't feel like that should have been,
that should have been a separate idea.
Hal acting the way, I feel like it should have been a separate idea.
Like maybe, how to get, maybe his act of redemption is this fear alien that was trapped because the core had it trapped. And because he killed the core, it got free and has been wreaking havoc. And he's got to redeem himself by, destroying this feared monster.
Collateral damage.
Yeah, something like that. Was that? Ain't that the story? Ain't there a story that collateral damage? I don't.
Yeah. Well, I know for a fact he ran into, what are they called? The Lost Lanterns, the lanterns that he left in space without their rings.
Oh yeah.
I think they came a knocking eventually. Yeah, he kind of stepped in the bag on that one.
And that's back when Ron Mars was cool too. Man, ain't that messed up? All these back in the day, Wade was cool, Ron Mars was cool.
And it's not so much back in the day, Larry. It's this back then we weren't seeing behind the curtain. We were just getting good stories, and that was it.
It's like that saying, "Don't never meet your heroes." It just also never meet people that you buy stuff from. It's like you don't know what you don't want to know if you go to a shop and buy meat from a butcher, you don't know what the butcher's like. You don't want to know that, dealing with that. But maybe that butcher, has horrific opinions on things that bother you on a deep core. You don't want that thinking about your meat and that and buying that from a person. But oh yeah, so here's a question before we get to Identity Crisis. Comic Rust. So what's your guys' take on the Morrison Liam Grant Morrison, Liam Sharp taking over Green Lantern? Yay or nay? I say big nay because Grant has disappointed me for a long time. He has not been, and also Liam Sharp I don't dislike the guy. I like the guy's work, but that cover they put out was the most bland, generic. There's nothing but he's just Hal Jordan just standing there with the Green Lantern and these really crappy somebody.
He's looking badass, dude.
That is a horrible cover. That Starburst crap. Nothing's going on. It looks like some really shitty poster from the from the 70s, like something you buy like Spencer's Gifts or whatever. Like it's blacklight. That's the only reason somebody would buy it. It
I
just looks.
bought that. I bought it, Larry.
I bet you
I'm the
did.
guy.
You probably had the
I'm the
little
guy who
globe.
fucking did that. I had the single blacklight lamp with the poster underneath it. Yep.
You had the globe with the lightning too. Lightning globe.
Yes.
But there's not like what Grant Morrison.
They had a preview in the issue today. I think that's why he's bringing it up. And
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't. I of course, I didn't pick up Heroes in Crisis. And I didn't. I have no plans to read that.
Like,
I
tried. Signed up. I'll tell him to send you like 4 or 5 copies. You can give them to your friends, your family.
Can't you do that? That's a. You know what? That's like sending.
We'll do
that's like sending out excrement.
Analysis where we get into each page. No. It'll be good.
No, that's a bad idea. That's a real bad idea. But no, like I really have zero interest when it comes to that, mainly because of Morrison. If it was somebody else writing, hell, I'd be interested if it was Brad Meltzer, who did, he's been redeemed in my eyes because there's some stuff that came out. Identity Crisis, which was the next one up because it was dealing with a murder mystery. And it was not just some simple murder mystery. It was the murder of Sue Dibney, where it turns out she was pregnant, and she was barbecued with a flamethrower. Oh, and yeah, guess what? Other than that, somebody was walking on her brain. Oh, and we have to retcon in that she was brutally raped on the Justice League satellite by Dr. Light, and then instead of cutting his dick and balls off, castrating this, like just making him a Barbie doll, they mind wipe him and neuter him, and then he gets it back. And so the whole point of the story is somebody's murdering us. It turns out it's Jean Loring, the Adams ex-wife, wants to get back together because she's crazy and desperate. And so she kills a pregnant woman by stepping on her brain, and then barbecues her with a flamethrower, gets Tim Drake's dad killed, and he also the original Captain Boomerang, and so we get all that. So yeah, that's really fun. That's a real fun story.
Love will bring us together.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that was a song playing at Sue Dibney's funeral, Captain Anthony. But
it was a brutal way of someone trying to bring someone back into their life, and I think it was all that tragedy that, I guess they could write into that character to do all that stuff. Grief is a powerful thing. Obviously, we've seen with Hal Jordan, before they reneged on that. But yeah,
and see, that's the problem. It wasn't for years. I was like, oh, screw Brad Meltzer. He's the one that came up with all that stuff. Well, it turns out it was Dan DiDio. DiDio is like, hey, we got the rape pages here. Stuff like, oh, what the really? This is like it was an editorial idea. That was their little nudge into it, and stuff like that. It's like, oh, of course that makes sense. Because DiDio apparently, I guess, dislikes the new generation. They're the Titans.
I don't know what this guy likes. Yeah. I begin to question what he likes here.
He likes to see Dick Grayson dead. That's the thing. He wants Dick Grayson dead, but I guess any backlash. They tried to kill him multiple times. I don't think Dick's
dead. He's just maimed. I'm sure he'll be fixed. They'll figure out a way. They'll go into his brain via cyberspace or the internet, and they'll rewiring him and give him goggles so that it doesn't get nausea or whatever when he's flipping around the city. Maybe he'll fight people in cyberspace. That will be he'll be the new Oracle.
Oh God, they would do that to him, wouldn't they? Put him on the shelf for a while.
I'm not right, Larry.
Oh God.
I don't think Dick needs to be on the shelf. I think Dick, as Nightwing, should be. I mean, he's the Batman without the baggage.
Yeah, and Identity Crisis in general just made me feel like it was like trying too hard to be dark and edgy, like the scene where Deathstroke's taking on the Justice League, and then Green Arrow stabs him in the eye with the arrow and everything. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, you're trying a little too hard here. But yeah, there really is no resolution to the book. It's like it's just and depressing. It's like it's the down ending. It's like it makes Alien 3 look like the happiest movie ever, You know, if
The
at the end,
happiest movie.
yeah, hey, attempted rape, like, hey, there you had attempted rape, murder, mutilation, uh, you know, being
It's all the
forcefully,
things you're looking for, right?
yeah, forcefully impregnated by an alien creature that will kill you. Oh yeah, and the evil corporation that set you and your friends up to die wants to take it out of you, use it as a weapon. So what do? You dive into a, you fall backwards into a hot vat of molten lead. So yeah, really fun stuff. Like, at least there's a
I don't think
wrestle.
a lot of people count Alien 3, dude.
I count it. I count it. I
Alien
love
3,
it.
the art house movie of the series.
Well, hey,
Excuse the diesel driving by. I got the window open. I
that's
apologize.
okay. It's okay.
I
But
got my own sound effect board here where I queue up cars driving by.
well, Comic Rust is correct. The next one up is Infinite Crisis. Did you read that when it came out, or have you ever read that?
I read that when it came out.
Okay, that first issue, because okay, this is after all the the count. This is after you know Blue Beetle, Ted Core got his brains blown out by Max Lord, and Wonder Woman snaps Max Lord's neck, and
Justice.
yeah, all of it. It was just
Justice.
it was horrific. It was really horrific. And then that first issue comes out. They're in a blown up, the wrecked Just League HQ, and they're talking it out. And then at the end of the
Picking
issue,
up the pieces.
picking up the pieces. In the issue, you have Superboy Prime and Golden Age Superman. Like, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna break free, and we're gonna show these heroes how to be heroes. And that right there, I remember reading that, and after getting that page, it was like the end, to be continued or whatever. I was like, hell yeah! I was like rooting, like it was like a movie. I loved it because being that big of a, to actually see them show up and have like no spoilers, no nothing. It was great. It was one of those moments, like those hell yeah moments that
Breaking through
comics
the
can
wall.
do. Hmm?
Breaking through the wall.
Yeah, breaking through the crystal barrier that they were trapped behind, and it turns out, and then you find out the reason
This whole time, yeah.
the reason all these like weird inconsistencies is because they were punching on the walls of reality, and that's the reason Jason Todd got brought back from the dead. That he was dead, and they punched it, and then he like became alive again. And then they retconned
Like
that.
they're beating on the TV when they weren't getting a good signal.
Exactly.
Grandpa
It's like
Superman's
boom,
like,
boom,
I can't
boom.
watch my shows because I'm not getting a good signal. So he slapped it a couple times.
Exactly. So we get Jason Todd
Gotta
back,
watch
and
my stories.
you gotta get Red Hood. I mean, where's my Red Hood show? I gotta get my Red Hood show.
I don't know why he'd be looking
Oh,
for that show.
I don't know, man. Maybe we'll see somebody getting beat to death with a crowbar. But
Yeah, I bought most of that. In Texas, I have most of that. I was firmly hooked in on that.
well, I was the same way. I got the tie-ins as well, like all the like I think I got all the tie-ins at the time. But yeah, it was just I loved it. It was so good. It was like it it made me feel like Crisis on Infinite Earths. It had this everything mattered, and the best part about it after that, we get the 52 weekly series that spun out after that, where it's just nothing but the B, C, D list heroes, and like some of the minor A list heroes, but not the Trinity. And it was this
Booster Gold.
Booster Gold and Skeets, and then with Mr. Mind, that great reveal. See, that's Grant Morrison when he's working with other people. That's the Grant Morrison I like. Skinning, like a Skeets was, made out of a skinned Wave Rider. Like, whoa, that's messed up.
That's a layer.
That's a layer of flesh. But with Mr. Mind turning this Cthulhu-like creature, going into his chrysalis form and the cocoon, and coming out this monster, like that was great. I mean, and then the kind of the redemption of Hal and of Sue Dibney and Ralph Dibney, with Elongated Man, where they were like these ghost detectives. Like that right there, like that actually did make me feel pretty good. That actually was one of those things. Like, yeah, it sucks. Both of them are dead, but they're ghost detectives and they're solving crimes. And like but nobody ever did anything with it. Same thing.
I don't know. I don't feel like that ever came to fruition. I don't feel like it kept going either.
Yeah, it's like, but yeah, there's so much that spun out of Infinite Crisis. Like, the fight between the Superman and the Earth,
Talking
Superboy
about
Prime
when
from Earth Prime.
Kal-El got beat down first.
Oh yeah, well that was actually around that. That's where Nightwing was supposed to die. With the that was actually supposed to when he was supposed to die around that time.
No.
Yeah, they're gonna kill Nightwing then, and it's like, no, don't do it. Bad idea. But yeah, it was so good. It was, and then that fight, and then like with Mogo and everything, and like the fight through the red sun. That was just so
It's nothing
good.
like a good Superman fight. Yeah.
Yeah, that was some cosmic. See, that's
People
the kind of
complain
stuff.
about that shit, but I feel like when Superman's fighting someone who's on his same level, I feel like those are the best fights.
See, I will agree with you there. When it's done well like that, I love it. But when it's just, it's hardly done though. Like nobody really does that stuff.
People say it happens often, but I don't feel like it happens
It
often.
doesn't. I mean, it's like, oh, we got Lex and Parasite. We can't really fight Parasite like that. He can't do,
He's got to keep leeching off of Superman in order to stay at that level.
Exactly, and like, or like you said, like, he's leeching off a dwarf star or something, or you could do something, but nobody has the imagination to do it. And like, they don't want to level up Parasite to that degree. A Parasites would be interesting, like a group of them, like kind of
Parasite League.
That would be kind of creepy when you think about it. Like, imagine somebody opening up a door and the basement is full of these like very skinny people writhing around, and they have like the parasite face, and they're in a basement, and then they get thrown like a let's say a battery, like a 12-volt battery, like somebody heaves it into and they're all like siphoning energy off of it. Like, see, there you go. How great would that be for a Superman story? Somebody keeping a bunch of parasites in a basement.
All the ones from all these different universes.
Well, I was thinking of homeless people. Somebody's taking these homeless people. Oh, come out of the cold.
Replicating the process. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I mean, that'd be creepy though, because if it wouldn't be like, imagine all of them like swarming on Superman or the Super Family. Like, and then Clark has the idea. Supes has the idea to throw the robot Supermen at the parasites, but they absorb the energy. Even the kinetic energy off the robot Superman trying to fight back, and their like power source, they absorb that. They absorb the kinetic energy, and then they start absorbing solar energy, and that's where it gets scary. They start absorbing solar energy, and so basically
Superman can be walking around town with these people on leashes.
well, that's the resolution of the story. Biff Van Poom, whatever. He takes them all to. He saps them up into the Phantom Zone, and then drops them off in nuclear waste sites, and so they absorb the nuclear waste, the energy, the radiation. But Army of Parasite, actually, yeah, I think it would be cool 2-parter as well. Comic Rust. But I think Matt's got a phone call.
No, I had to switch my microphone. Can you still hear me?
I can hear you just fine. I thought you had
my Bluetooth earbuds just died on me. I should have charged those up before.
Oh, that's okay. Bluetooth will let you down. Battery. Hey, there you go. Parasite absorbed your battery power.
Yep, you got me.
No, but
it's like you're telling. He's like, you're talking shit, man.
But with so after Infinite Crisis, we get one of the most disappointing books I've ever read, Final Crisis by our boy Grant Morrison.
Here we go.
That right there, I remember reading this, and of course you had the tie-ins, like the mandatory tie-ins, like with the Vampire Superman stuff that's like a 3D comic, and you had to read that to understand all that stuff. And
I didn't.
Well, to try to understand, that's what I thought at the time. I'm speaking from in past tense, I guess. It's not like a hate, like, you hate evil or anything like that, but I hated it because it was just too pretentious. Like, comics supposed to be entertaining, not this like where you shouldn't have to feel like you have to take a college course to understand this comic. It's just not meant for you. It's just too over your head. Maybe it is, and that's the problem. Marv Wolfman and George Perez, they knew how to tell an interesting story without making you feel like a dumbass. And Final Crisis, there was like, okay, you got to outrun a bullet and you got to outrun death, and
there was so much going on. And I'll tell you, I bought they had a bunch of audiobooks on sale a couple months ago on Humble Bundle, and one of them was Final Crisis. And I'll tell you, they left out a good chunk of all that extra bullshit.
Oh, the Tattoo Man stuff. I hated that too. You know, the whole Tattoo Man?
The Tattoo Man was definitely a part of the story, I guess, near the end in the audiobook.
Yeah,
but I will say it wasn't a huge emphasis on him, just more, that he had the sign,
I just hate it though. I really like it's one of those things where you just try to be too up its own ass, to be blunt, for a DC crossover. People. It's Grant Morrison's. Like, how could you?
You didn't like Batman beating Darkseid?
No, I didn't like. Honestly, I didn't. I was trying to think what I like about it. I kind of like the J.G. Jones artwork, kinda. That's about it. That's the only thing I can really say positive about it. I can barely remember the Legion of Superheroes crossover tie-in, whatever that was.
Yeah, that's where they had the ship Superman off. I mean, you got to think it was almost like, I guess, 3 events happening all at once.
It's just
maybe
way
more
too
than
confusing.
Maybe more than that.
It's just, I miss old Grant Morrison. I miss original Justice League Grant Morrison. I miss New X-Men Grant Morrison. At that point, it was just like, yeah, Grant Morrison. Because once he gets so big that the editor can't tell him what to do. Because that's apparently what he'll do. Like when he was doing New X-Men, he would wait till the last minute to send in his scripts, so the editors couldn't edit him. And so stuff like that. It's like, yeah, like that sounds like him. Like just like making it up as he goes along. Like this is what he wants to do. Like this is.
Do you think they initially wanted to use this event to bring Barry back? Did you think that was appropriate?
I think that they were probably going to do that. I think that was the initial idea instead of Rebirth. But because Final Crisis came out before Rebirth, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Final Crisis. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it is a book that I wish if I could excise one of the crises out of there.
Wasn't Countdown before Final Crisis?
Countdown to Final Crisis.
Why are we skipping? Why are we skipping that? No.
Well,
you don't want to get into that?
Well, that was a book that I tried
like
reading.
80 books.
It was like, yeah, it was like
so many different books.
No, it was 50. It was like 52.
I remember I had my pull list at the local shop that we had there in Fort Worth. I felt like I was bleeding myself dry going in to try to pick up all those books.
See, you tell the difference between Countdown to Final Crisis and 52? Because 52, I couldn't wait. I was like, oh man, next week can't get here soon enough, because it was like you're getting a whole issue's worth of comic, and it was a great story. And then Countdown, I was like,
there was a glut. I will say maybe an excessive amount of stuff with Countdown.
Yeah,
but I like Jason Todd, and I like seeing people bully around Kyle Rayner. So I mean, it was okay.
You hate Kyle Rayner, do you? Do you hate Kyle Rayner?
Are you picking up on that?
I like to a degree.
I'm a Hal Jordan fan. I'm not a Kyle Rayner fan.
See, I'm a Hal Jordan fan myself, but I'm Hal Jordan.
Only one. No.
That's the thing. I'm a Hal Jordan fan, but in my head, he was never possessed by some fear monster, some fear alien, fear demon. He killed the core because he was in grief.
In my mind, Hal Jordan is the everyman, and he's flawed, and he's not perfect.
Yeah. Comic Russ, Alan Scott. Alan Scott's actually kind of cool too. Also, Alan Scott's got the kids. He's got Obsidian, he's got Jade.
Alan Scott and the JSA, yeah.
Yeah, Alan Scott's one of those guys. He isn't that full on kind of grandpa kind of thing, but it's like the kind of guy you would, like, if you need a device, you go to Alan Scott. This is the kind of guy you would, because he was an adventurer. He was like a kind of Indiana Jones kind of dude.
It's more of a ground level Green Lantern.
Yeah, it's like, well, I like the idea of the
baggage of a police force in space and all this other stuff.
Well, that's what thing. Like I know they kind of like tied him into it. Like he had a part of a power battery and this and that. Like they retcon some stuff, but I like the idea of the lantern, like the different size lantern, but with the green flame, like that right there. Like that just seems kind of cool to me. Like the green flame idea.
Or when he got revamped after 0 Hour, when he got he was made younger. Remember that?
Yeah, they did that. Like they did that for the whole JSA. I'm not mistaken. Like
I don't know if it was the whole JSA. I think what was it, Hour Man?
Well, because they were
Some of
doing
the
the
other
new,
guys
they were
got
doing the new Hour Man. Remember, they were had him.
I was talking about the robot. Yeah.
Yeah, the new Hour Man. Yeah, the one from like DC 1 million.
Hey, I like that. I like the design of that guy. I don't think that ever went anywhere. I think they actually might
No,
have killed that guy.
no, he was a part of the Justice Society for a while. He was a part of
Is
the.
he still around now, or is
I don't know. He might have showed up in Justice League when they did like the flashback to the future or something like that. And you see, like, I know you see Superman 1 million and Justice League #1, and so there's some cameos in there. But
I'm googling it. We'll figure out where Robot Hour Man is. Android.
Hour Man 1 million.
Correction. Android. Got to get this right.
He's a damn android. Our man's damn android. There is some issues I do have with, that, the JSA being, like kind of been put off in the corner because of the whole Doomsday Clock stuff, which is just unfortunate. It's like apparently that's
I guess that came out today after 6-month hiatus or whatever.
Oh yeah,
I'm waiting for the collected.
Yeah, because here's the thing.
I hate to be that asshole, but
it's like $6 an issue, and it's 12 issues, or it's $5 an issue. Sorry, $5 an issue. So you're going to pay $60 for floppies. Really? You're going to pay $60 for floppies. Just wait for the collection to come out. Wait for the hardcover.
That's what I'm waiting for.
That's the best. If you're going to read it, because it's not going to, unlike Watchmen, this doesn't. I knew from the first issue this isn't going to be worth picking up, monthly. And then I'm like, yeah, then it's not monthly now anymore. It's like bi-monthly or whatever. You're lucky to get it every 2 months. Like that, get somebody who can draw faster. Gary Frank.
I don't know if those guys are both working on other books or not, or if this is just it. It's got to be something else to it.
Major Tom 331. Doom's delay clock.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go, sir. Good one. Good one. But I have a question to pose to you, Matt. If you could do your own Crisis at DC, what would be like the general idea for it? Like where you have Crisis on Infinite Earths, that's when the Anti-Monitor and he's destroying all the Earths, and then you have, Identity Crisis, where it's a lovesick crazy woman trying to get back with her husband, and Infinite Crisis, you have these heroes trying to show these newer heroes how to be, but it goes horribly wrong. And then Final Crisis, it's some Scottish writer trying to be smarter than what he actually is. And then Heroes in Crisis, it's from the looks of it is
I don't think this Crisis is on par with these other ones.
I have a feeling it's not going to be on the par with Final Crisis. It's going to be the hug box of stuff. But if you had to like an elevator pitch a Crisis, what would you go with?
I think I would go with some of these realities that were phased out, trying to fight back in order to exist. I mean, I know that's been kind of done a little bit, an extent, with Silver Age Superman and that other Lex Luthor and all that. But I feel like you can get a little more into that, and so maybe some of these realities found a way to still exist, and they're not happy that the Prime Earth was the Prime Earth. I mean, you got to imagine if you were on one of these worlds and then you were told, hey, guess what, you got to move to the side because you're not the Prime Earth. I mean, I feel like there would be.
I mean, like the Earth, like the Earth 0, Earth 1, the one.
I think they've reintroduced the multiverse since all this. I'm just saying that I feel like you could play into that a little more. You could find some of these other Earths that were pissed off. I wouldn't mind seeing, some more of that, because I feel like there's still collateral damage from those events. I definitely would beat the dead horse, I guess, if that's what you're asking me.
Well, I have one. This one might be a little ambitious, but
I would want the Flashes. That also, Larry. I would definitely want the Flash family involved, because I feel like it's not a Crisis without a Flash. And, probably Tom was thinking it's not a Crisis unless you kill one. So here you go.
Well, here's mine. Here's my pitch. It starts out in Los Angeles, starts out in, the West Coast. And there's a guy going into an office, and the guy gets hired for a job. The guy turns out to be Superboy Prime. He is working at DC Comics now. He has become an editor.
Here we go. No,
so
no,
the world
he doesn't
starts
have the
shattering.
credentials, Larry.
He's using those crazy 50s Superman powers. And so the DC universe starts acting up real weird. You have Psycho Pirate convince Wally West, who is now the Flash. You see him in the Flash outfit, his classic Flash outfit, not the white eyes version, but the
classic that he wore in Barry's old costume, right?
No, the pointed belt, the points downward, not the Barry that's like the even lightning bolts around the waist, but
right.
that points downward. So
you're talking about the maroon one.
It's just like basically Barry's looking costume, except it has the lightning bolts pointing downward.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, but so Psycho Pirate, because of being around before Crisis on Infinite Earths, is going around. It's like even he knows, like, I'm crazy, I hate you all, but I like to live, and he's going to destroy everything. And it's like, who? What are you talking about? So he gathers a super team: Wally West, Thomas Wayne from the Flashpoint universe,
bringing out all the outcasts. Is that what you're telling me?
Exactly. Like Wally, and thing about it is, Psycho Pirate mentions Wally's family, and it's like, your family, they're here on this Earth, and like he's talking about Earth Prime, he's talking about our universe. So eventually they get to our world, and it's kind of like that episode of Simpsons where Homer comes out of like they're going around. And they're like, they're dressed in costume. And so somebody like hands, like, one of the people I want is Donna Troy and her classic, the classic night, like her Teen Titans Donna Troy, like
talking the Stars costume.
Yeah, the pre-crisis Donna Troy.
Oh,
and
yeah. That's some good stuff right there.
Exactly. And so they're going around, and it's like, hey, what's your Instagram and stuff like this. She's like, what are you talking about? It's like this kind of, it's like a little meta. And then like somebody's giving them money. Like they're like trying to give them money, like they're like people, because there's people in New York, big cities, they're like dressed in costumes.
They think that she has a Patreon account. Is that what you're saying, Indigo?
Well, yeah, that too. Like the cosplayers, like people go out and cosplay, and like they'll give them money, like them like in costume and stuff, and like cops want to arrest, like.
So you're wanting it to spill over into our reality a little bit.
It basically,
or
like
our reality spills over into theirs.
Well, once they start fighting, they fall from the Earth Prime. But Wally, while he's in the real world, comes across old back issues of the Flash, where you see like the Flash family, with the the Tornado Twins, really the Wally's kids, and then he remembers everything, and then he goes and hunts down like a guy that's supposed to be like Dan DiDio. Like this comic would never happen unless Dan DiDio got fired. And he goes and beats the guy up at like super speed, but not to the point where he kills him. He's like, his powers are weakening because the Speed Force. He's only got the
lack of Speed Force in our reality. So
his metabolism is just, but now he's like eating everything. So he goes to a buffet and he's like eating everything. And it's like, you should watch out for gluten and stuff like that.
Like, what are you doing to Wally?
Leave him alone. And he just wants to eat. He just wants to eat. But it'd be, I guess you'd say, somewhat comedic, but also like the best way. Like it had like tiny comedic moments, but the other horrifying part, it'd be like that. Remember the scene from the movie Last Action Hero on the roof, Jack Slater's son's being held hostage.
Yep,
that's that for like Wally. And it's like Superboy Prime, but he has no powers because his power has been stripped.
He's been in our reality, yeah.
Exactly. And so he's got Wally's kids, and Linda's tied up, and he's about to kill Wally's kids, and then Wally tells his kids, like, run, and they run, and then he's going to take care of Superboy Prime. and then Thomas Wayne, the Batman from Flashpoint, shoots him in both knees and drops him down. He's like, ah! And it drops him down even more. He screams even harder because
this is going to give people nightmares, Larry.
And then he's like about to execute him. He's going to execute him. He's like, wait. I could bring your son back to you. And he's like talking about bringing like, little Thomas, Bruce Wayne, because, he got gunned down in the Flashpoint. He's like, I could bring it back to you. Just let me go. I could go ahead and he'll come back. You'll be happy. Your wife won't be the Joker no more. I could solve everything. It's called a retcon.
This is a nightmare.
But basically, in the end, Superboy Prime is locked up in a mental institution. Wally's got his family back. Thomas Wayne's still brooding some bitch. But in the end, like, Psycho Pirate here's the thing. Superboy Prime's locked up and is like, but I'm Superboy. I can fly. And then, like, the next cell over is Psycho Pirate. So, yeah. So
you're talking like a Batman Forever moment where they go to the jail to see the Riddler and he says he's Batman?
Yeah, exactly. And then he pull out and it turns out it's Arkham Asylum. But like, I was thinking, like, how sometimes, like, consistency in a comic is very important. But here's the thing. I would get Dave McKean, who did Arkham Asylum, A Serious House, and A Serious Earth. I'd have, like, certain artists, I'd get Brian Hitch to draw the real world stuff. And then other artists to draw, like George Perez to draw, like, whatever, like, that kind of stuff. Like, each world would have a different artist. Then the last part of the book would have Dave McKean, who did Arkham Asylum, Serious House, and The Serious Earth, and doing that. So it's like, it kind of ties in with Arkham Asylum. So that's my pitch. I don't know what to call it.
I call it Infinite Nightmare.
Infinite Nightmare. But I would love it. It would be a very meta story. But, like, just imagine the scene of Wally picking up some floppies and seeing his kids on the cover and seeing him smile. Those Daniel Acuna covers.
That's going to trigger Wally.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously it's triggered him already.
Yeah, total recall, full on flashback and all that. But to see that, it's just.
I had to see if Superboy Prime was still alive, and I guess he's not. So you're bringing him back.
Yeah, I would. My idea is, like, he brought himself back. It was like,
well, would he have enough juice to pull away from the source wall? Well, I guess technically there isn't a source wall anymore, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's been blown open. Like, you can play upon that.
So that means that guy's floating around. Holy cow! I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This is the cover. Like, when he's, like, when he gets to our Earth, this is the cover he sees, and it makes him start crying because he realizes, like, he's missed his family, like, this entire time. Like, he's been denied that by these people on Earth, these people that control his life, and, like, how pissed off he was.
The puppet masters.
Yeah, the puppet masters, and all he's got now is his metabolism. And so, and, like, they're like, "Hey, man, when's your movie coming out?" And he's doing stuff like that. He's like, "Yeah, Justice League wasn't that good of a film." Like, doing, like, really brutal stuff. It's like,
he becomes an internet blogger. Is that what you're telling me, Larry?
Well, he's tempted.
He can type faster.
Type faster. Well, it's like, what if? Here's another idea. What if here's another little layer to it? Maybe they get stranded on Earth for a bit, and so they got, like, Donna's got her powers, like, because whatever, but Wally's got the metabolism, so he's got to eat and eat and eat, and he's like, just, and it's just stuff like that. Like, Thomas is, like, back alley surgeon, like, he's like some you ever heard of Blackjack?
Doing operations out of the limo. Did I ever hear a what?
Oh, Blackjack. The Osamu Tezuka's Blackjack, the super surgeon who can like cure pretty much anyone.
This sounds familiar to me, but I don't think I've ever actually seen it.
The comic is great. There's a movie of it too. Blackjack manga. But let me share that real quick. Yeah, here it is. But yeah, it's Black. Like, I could see, like, if I was going to do a Thomas Wayne story, he'd basically be kind of very similar to Blackjack by Osamu Tezuka. But the movie's great too. But this is a Blackjack, super surgeon. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. It's a great manga. It's really this is probably the weirdest one.
Not read a lot of manga. I'm sorry.
Well, the story right here, it actually got it popped up. There is a famous actress comes in. She's got a mask on, so you can't see who. So Blackjack can't see who she is. and she's like her insides are hurting, and it turns out she has an internal twin, a twin that got merged, like she absorbed like a parasitic twin, but the parasitic twin actually has psychic abilities. So Blackjack goes in, and the psychic twin that's been living inside, which is basically just like an eyeball, some brains, a few guts, and stuff like that. Blackjack talks it down. It's like, hey, let me take you out of here. I'll build you a body. And so he builds it a body. And yeah, it's really freaky. It's a great comic. It's such a bizarre comic. I love it. But yeah. Yeah, like Thomas Wayne could be Matches Malone. Yeah, Comic Rest. Thomas Wayne could be Matches Malone on Earth Prime. Yeah, exactly. He could be the guy listening to like, he'll go into the DC offices and start kicking ass. It's like, like, which one of you is this? Like Wally be a courier. He'd be like he'd try to infiltrate the DC offices, but it's like, man, you look so familiar. Why do you look so familiar? Stuff like that. It's I just love it. I know it would be, and then somebody says, he's like, I'm Wally West. I thought Wally West was black.
Damn.
Like, no. Damn, son, no.
Damn.
No. But yeah, like I
Wally,
do that.
and then there's Wallace.
But and here in One Earth, there's where you see Arsenal, but you also have Arsenal and his daughter Leanne. Leanne Harper's back from the dead. Which that right there, that's one of the biggest injustices that DC's ever done when they killed her. Because I was thinking, oh man, she'd be like such a cool like future Archer, part of the Green Arrow family, the Green Arrow extended family, and also she's got that Teen Titans lineage, with her parentage, with I forgot what her mother. I want to say it ain't Viper. Shiva, I think her mother was Shiva. But yeah,
Shiva, the trained Batman when Batman got his back broken, he had to come back.
I think so. I'll look her up real quick. It's not meant to be Shiva. It's let's see, Leanne Harper. Because they up and crush her. They killed her. Which is just,
damn.
They Prometheus killed her. But yeah, it's just really
Helmet Batman. Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. It's Cheshire. That's it. Cheshire. That was her mother. Who's an assassin? I think she's like a Vietnamese assassin or something. But
assassin on her own, or League of Assassins?
I think just standard assassin, non-associated assassin, non-aligned.
Well, you never know.
But yeah, well, DC Comics, they just tie everything in. Everything's gonna be that. But yeah, I would be down with that. I'd be down with having her come back, because that's like one of those things. Like, bring the families back, bring the families home. But yeah, so I think
I like the family aspect. The Flash family, the Superman family. This is a supporting cast.
Yeah.
And it's also a way to further the story. It is like with Superman. I mean, it's not just Superman. You got Kara, and you have even Connor whenever he decides to come back or whatever. And, John Henry Irons, and the Eradicator.
And Natasha Irons as well. I mean,
also, yeah. And there's many layers to this onion, yeah. And it's the same with the Flash family.
Yeah, and Batman should be married, and it should show the strain on the marriage. And guess what? Batman should be able to get divorced.
Batman should be able to get divorced.
Hell, Batman should be been married and divorced at least 3 times by now. But this whole
Bruce Wayne persona, yeah, I feel like that there should be that, in order to sell, this billionaire playboy burning through women, the mask as it is.
Well, the whole in Comic Rust, Tom King, why do you got to make that stupid cuck joke relevant? His reasoning is, in the CIA, marriages don't work, so they wouldn't get married. I'm like, this isn't the CIA. This is a comic book universe. A guy running a multi-billionaire running around fighting crime, punching bad guys, shouldn't work. It's not reality. So you should be able to do whatever you want with the story. My looking at it is this. They get married. Everything's going okay to a degree. Selena still's got that itch to steal something, or maybe somebody's trying to blackmail her. But if she goes to Bruce, and it shows that she can't handle it herself. Or some reporter is like, oh, yeah, Bruce Wayne, he's no longer on the market. And start looking into Selena Kyle's history with her criminal history. Is like, so, and, like, oh, so you're okay with criminals? Like, Bruce is talking about how rehabilitation. And it's like, so you're okay with rehabilitating criminals? And so it kind of backfires on him. Mr. Ike plan, take down anybody. Give me
essentially, you're wanting this to become a bigger mess.
Well, no, I wanted to, drama. Marriage would equate to drama, and then they would have a fight.
There would be strain. I agree with.
And then Bruce, like Selena's gonna go out and steal something. Bruce is like, you're not going out there. You ain't gonna steal shit.
Bruce going back out every night to put back everything she steals.
Well, kind of, sort of, but it's like where he grabs her arm and then she turns around and like cuts his face or slaps him, and she's like, "What, you gonna hit me?" And then it's like it's like, I know you're not above hitting women. It's stuff
boy,
like
here
that.
We go.
And that's the thing. Like what it's what Batman would do. It's like you hit him, you cause a threat, he's gonna put you down. But it's like because he's like, just because this, and she's like, where you see some women where they hold up their hand and they got their thumb on the ring finger, like that kind of thing, like pointing out the ring and like rocking it back and forth.
I've never been punched by a woman, so I don't know.
No, I'm just saying like that. I've seen women like do that. Where
I was hit with a sandal when I was in high school, but I was never punched.
You deserve that, though. You deserve that, you filthy boy.
It's a whole ordeal. I won't even get into that story.
But what I'm saying is like where Selena's like pointing out that just because I got this ring on my finger does not mean that you wouldn't be above hitting me.
Tell me what I do.
And that too, and that's another thing. It's like that would be great drama, and then actually have Bruce go out instead of talking over, like maybe he's out. Like he's out beating, he's crime fighting. There's a guy, he actually sees a guy, like he's fighting one thing. There's a guy beating his wife, and he goes in and just kicks the living hell out of the guy. And then, of course, domestic situations are really like Batman's helping that woman out, and she comes out and like tries to stab Batman, and he like backslaps her. And it's like, oh hell, he just made everything worse. And it's just like trying to help, or I don't know, something along those lines. I mean, probably wouldn't hit her because that would be looked upon poorly. But yeah.
Well, I don't know if you realize this or not, Larry, but it's been revealed that this whole Catwoman leaving Batman at the altar and all this was all part of a bigger plan from Bane.
That would be interesting. Yeah, that right there.
Essentially, I think, I don't know how much Tom is pulling from earlier Batman stories, but in my mind, I feel like Bane is once again putting Bruce through the gauntlet, which I feel we're going through the mental gauntlet right now, and soon we'll probably be in the physical gauntlet. And then at the end of this wonderful road will be Bane.
I hope you're right, but I have a feeling
I'm not Tom King. I don't know.
Well, no, and also you're probably a little more clever than Tom King. I'm not kidding.
He's got to be pretty clever if he worked for the CIA, dude. Come on, man.
Hey, it's one thing to kill somebody. It's another with Predator drones. It's another thing to write a comic story that's entertaining, and like you set that up more entertaining. And Comic Rush brings us. I really hope Bendis doesn't retcon the marriage of Lois and get rid of his son John. That right there, if they did,
still early on that, but man, it doesn't look good.
It's bad, man. It's really bad. The fact that they've done this, they put him in the ghetto, but it's just. This is what I dislike about comics. The fact that a lot of these people, we can't shake up the status quo. People die. We don't want to shake up the status quo. You don't want to marry somebody, but you'll kill someone instead? That's bullshit. So you'll kill someone. You'll maim them. You'll rip off Roy Harper's arm, and then, you can't even have a cyborg arm because of nanites or some bullshit. But you won't allow somebody to get married and possibly have drama and conflict. Like that's just bullshit. That's just really bad writing and bad editors and people with lack of imagination. Like, marriage is, the idea, if they get married, then they're happy. I'm like, bullshit. Some people, like, I've known couples. They've been like, together for years, like 3, 4, 5 years. They finally get married, and it just goes off the rails. You know, that's it. It happens. It's like when it's actually, you know, when you're actually kind of trapped in this relationship, you are legally bound to each other. You know, sometimes it can drive people apart instead of together. And so that right there, boom, instant drama for a comic book. Also, it's not real, and so you can manipulate things one way or another. It's like the idea I had. It's like, okay, the marriage is going to happen. They're going to get married, and then like League of Assassin ninjas are going to kick in, you know, or equivalent thereof, and going to gun down the wedding party. And then it's like, that's the end of the issue. You have to pick up the next issue to find out what happens. But the last panel is you see Selena's hand laying on the ground with a ring on it, and like how the wedding dress. There's like some wedding dresses, like there's like the material like between the middle and the ring finger. It's like that, like the triangle. You know what I'm talking about, right? Where
yes.
It's like, and it's like laying palm up, but like the hands was like, you know, like it isn't clenched or anything. It's just laying like flat or laying like that. We see the ring, but there's blood, and then it's like, you know, to be continued. So you have to pick up issue 51, and it's like, what the hell happened? And then like, you know, a tragedy strikes. Yeah, the Wayne Kyle wedding, and it's like that, right? And that's all you solicit to the retailers. You don't, and it's like that kind of thing. You just put that stuff out. That was how I would sell the book. That's how I would do the comic. Would you pick that up?
I don't know. I think I might.
Yeah. And the way I'd resolve it, she's shot, but Leslie Tompkins is there to help her out. But it turns out that she had underneath, she had lingerie underneath, but it's her part of her old, you know, the old Jim Ballant Catwoman costume, like that stuff, and part of that is Kevlar. It's so like where the bullets mostly hit her there, but there was a couple bullets that didn't because of machine gun fire. But there's a lot of other people that were shot, but it was they weren't shot to kill. They're mostly flesh wounds through and throughs. But yeah, it's like, and Bruce was shot, and it's like, you know, kind of like, Bruce, you're bleeding. I don't got time to bleed. You know, it's like, they shot my wife. I'm gonna kill him. And like, then you see like Nightwing. You see Nightwing, and then you see Tim, and then Cassandra Cain. And Cassandra Cain, she's the first one out the door. She's like, all this happens. She's the first one out the door. She don't say a word. She goes out there to kick some ass. That's what I want to see. It's like, you hurt one of our own. I might not like Selena, like maybe like show some kind of beef between her and Catwoman, you know. But you know, have those two like want to throw down. I think that'd be that right there is. Damn it! Now fight. Dude, I want to get. Now I'm hyped for a story I'll never get. Damn it!
You can always create it. Just don't try to sell it.
Here's a Catwoman analog with a Batman analog and a Cassandra Cain Batgirl analog. But then and also then somebody said like, okay, come on, Barbara, we gotta go. Barbara, I can't feel my legs. Like, yes, Oracle's back.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I would do that.
Oh boy.
I would do that. Like, issue 51 ends with Barbara Gordon back as Oracle. You know, she's crippled again. So yeah.
God.
Yes, I would do that. And Cassandra Cain becomes Batgirl.
You're going to get some backlash.
Good. Get some heat.
You're going to get some heat on the message boards.
Don't worry. I exercise my Second Amendment rights, so somebody does
you
find
and Tom
out where
will be new friends. It'll be okay.
He'll send a predator drone my way. Like,
Tom's getting some heat on the... I read the review on IGN. I will state now, I don't really enjoy who does the comic book reviews at IGN. But anyway... That will say the comments, I guess, on the Heroes in Crisis review where Tom was getting some heat.
Well, maybe it's just deserved heat, though.
And I saw that he was actually getting heat on Twitter. I mean, I'm not gonna. I will never tell him directly that I didn't like his story because I've liked other stories, and it's just this one just isn't doing it for me.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if we don't want to have Barbara gets shot again to be crippled, maybe she loses her legs. Like,
holy shit, Larry!
Dude, I'm like, man, how far? Like, then how psychotic is that? how can I excuse that? It's like maybe some kind of situation similar to License to Kill. Like when Sanchez has Felix Leiter over the pool, and the great white shark, and he's like, Felix thinks he's going to be fed to the great white shark and be killed. And he's like, and Sanchez, played by Robert Davi, he's like, no, this is the first day of the rest of your life. He just gets his arm and leg eaten off, so he's like, he's maimed for the rest of his life. Maybe have the similar thing happen to Batgirl. It's like maybe somebody quips in a brutal fashion, maybe you should have packed some bat repellent spray. Like, oh damn, and then she gets her legs eaten off. Oh god damn.
Jesus, dude. This is a black label story.
We're going to show her gooch.
This is definitely Black Label.
Oh my god! But I think with that psychotic mess right there, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, folks. So thank you for joining me, Comic Rust. You've been a champ, sir. Thank you for jumping in the chat. Yeah, exactly. I just now saw that. Hell, why would Batman be like a CIA agent? Exactly. It's like, Batman doesn't kill people with Predator drones.
He did create Omax, but I think that was more out of fear after he found out he was mind wiped by his best friends.
Exactly. He was mind wiped, as well as he regretted making the Omax. It's he regretted the Brother Eye stuff. Christ, if a shark eats the legs and now Batman or Alfred make the damn shark repellent, it's like, damn it, Alfred, I told you to make that bat shark repellent before now. But Matt, thank you for joining me. Thank you for giving us some insight. And
thanks for having me. I hope it wasn't too bad.
Dude, it was fun. It was really fun. So I had a fun stream today. Going to have a fun stream tomorrow with Perch and Peter, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The main event. Ding, ding, ding. So
I'll be in that chat talking shit. Don't worry.
You better be. You better. I'm gonna mod your ass. I'm gonna make you a mod.
Perch has been avoiding me since we did the first stream. I'll never forget it.
You know what? No. I've been trying to get timing wise, and it's like it sucks, dude. It just sucks, and it's like, I don't want to burn him out. So I get tired of my ass.
He doesn't want to talk to me. I'm building some heat here.
We come swinging at Perch. You swing at the bear. You best not miss.
I'm gonna find his shop. No.
That sounds like a threat. Jesus.
It's not a threat. I'll come in there and buy something and I'll return it. No.
We could tear it up in front of the counter.
I'll read it right there and be like, I want my money back.
Oh my god. But
put my hands all over it.
This is fun. Thank you again, those who joined us. Matt, and for as well. I've had a fun time. Until next time, folks. I'm killing the broadcast. Take care. Best of luck. Good night, and see you around next time.